Hi everyone, welcome to my students. I am so glad that you're back here reading, and I'm glad for all the other listeners reading along with us today. Welcome to new story time with Mrs. Lefevre, and I'm so glad you're here. We're going to read today one of my favorite stories from one of my most favorite authors. This story, A Piglet Named Mercy, by the author Kate D. Camilla. Mercy is a sweet baby pig. Look at her. But guess what, boys and girls? Does she look like she's at the farm? The illustrator, Chris Van Dessen, does such a good job drawing Mercy in her new home. Let's find out more about her new home. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson lived in a house on Deckawoo Drive. Deckawoo Drive was an ordinary street in an ordinary town. And Mr. and Mrs. Watson were ordinary people who did ordinary things in ordinary ways. Just like yard work and vacuuming and car washing. Do your families do that at your home? I bet they do. One day, Mrs. Watson said to Mr. Watson, "I wonder if we just aren't the tiniest bit too predictable." "Predictable? Us?" said Mr. Watson. "Surely not." "Well, it's just that sometimes I wish something different would happen," said Mrs. Watson. "Things are fine just the way they are," said Mr. Watson. I like how Mrs. Watson is up for adventure. But then something different did happen. Look at Molson's Pig Transport. Caution, pigs. Many pigs inside, except for Mercy. Are you ready for the adventure to begin? Somewhere very small and not at all ordinary found her way to the Watsons' house on Deckawoo Drive. Mr. Watson made the discovery when he opened the door for the morning paper. "Mrs. Watson," he called, "come see." "Oh, the little dear," said Mrs. Watson. "Oink," said the piglet. "I think she's hungry," said Mrs. Watson. "Is that a pig?" said Eugenia Lincoln. Eugenia Lincoln lived next door, and she did not approve of surprises or pigs. How would your family deal with a pig in your neighborhood? "It is," said Mrs. Watson. "Can you believe our luck?" "Don't be ridiculous," said Eugenia Lincoln. "A pig is not lucky at all." "Do you think perhaps the piglet would like a bottle of warm milk?" said Baby Lincoln. Baby was Eugenia's younger sister, and she was fond of surprises and piglets. Mr. Watson scratched his head. "A bottle of milk? I don't know. This is all so unpredictable." "Leave it to me," said Baby Lincoln. "Oink," said the piglet again. Mrs. Watson picked up the piglet and took her inside. She wrapped her in a blanket. "Have you ever seen anyone so darling?" she said. "Never," said Mr. Watson. "Here is the warm milk," said Baby Lincoln. "I have it right here." Eugenia said, "This is absurd." She's still not up for an adventure, is she? The piglet did not think it was absurd at all, and she drank the entire bottle. And then she burped and oinked and went looking for more. "Oh my goodness," said Mr. Watson. "Watch out," said Eugenia. "She seems to like this toast very much," said Baby. "Oh, the darling, darling thing," said Mr. Watson. "Mr. Watson," said Mrs. Watson, "perhaps you would like to hold her for a bit?" "Certainly," said Mr. Watson. And he took the piglet in his arms and he rocked her. He hummed. "How extraordinary," said Mr. Watson. "She is a porcine wonder." "This piglet is a wish come true," said Mrs. Watson. "What a mercy she is," said Baby. "There you go," said Mr. Watson. "We will call her Mercy." "She is not a mercy," said Eugenia. "She is a pig." "Oink, oink," said the piglet. "You cannot name a pig Mercy," shouted Eugenia. But they did name her Mercy. She was entirely unpredictable. She was not at all ordinary, and she was very, very loved. Boys and girls, I love this family's adventure, and I hope you enjoyed it too and learned so much from. Have fun when things aren't sometimes very ordinary, and sometimes things unpredictable might happen.